I just don't know about this one, boys and girls. I just don't know. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Vs Kong news and updates. Remember how I just made that video about the supposed trailer leak where they gave all the information about it? It was like so obviously fake. We're gonna be doing that again, although this one might not be fake. This one's been reported on by a few people. It was retweeted by Godzilla Island, which is why I put more stock in it. Had this only been reported on by this Eugene guy, maybe a couple of YouTubers, definitely a couple of YouTubers because they like to clickbait, and like Kaiju News Outlet maybe, I wouldn't put as much stock in this, just like with the other one. But it's the fact that even Godzilla hopped on this, which makes me go, oh, this could have some actual something to it. There could be some substance here. Now, because of that, I am going to give a spoiler warning for the potential Godzilla vs Kong trailer. However, it sounds like from this, it was more of a 30-second teaser or a very, very short teaser rather than an actual trailer. And I really hope it's fake because it doesn't sound good at all. In fact, all of it to me sounds bad. So I'm hoping it's fake. That being said, I want to make it clear, I'm not saying that I think the movie's going to be bad, or even if this actually turns out to be real, that doesn't necessarily mean it will be bad. That just means that from reading it, it doesn't translate well to me. I'd have to see it executed first before I can make a full judgment on that though. But here's what we got. This is supposedly a description of the Godzilla vs Kong trailer that played at Cinema Expo. They contacted anonymous sources, various different people, several people came out and started talking about it, and it was all from this Russian expo. So people are putting some stock into this. I will say it is kind of convenient, right? It took them a full week to report on this, a full week, and we waited until after this had been announced to the public, until after Godzilla Island and everyone else ran their articles to be like, yes, there was a Godzilla vs Kong footage shown at some sort of expo, European expo that we found out was Russian. There was Godzilla vs Kong footage shown there. So we waited until after all that to finally come out and then be like, hey, here's what it was. Here's a little description of your footage. Why on earth did they wait so long? It just seems so overly convenient. And how do you track down the people that went to this anyways? It's for investors, so you'd have to know who investors in Warner Brothers in Russia are in order to do this. I think it's really fishy. I don't know. Let's get into the description of what supposedly the movie is. Now, apparently the tone for this is quite dark. It's apparently quite the dark tone, which is good. It's not stated to be reminiscent of Godzilla 2014, but that's what I get from this. It's reminiscent of Godzilla 2014 in terms of tone. It's a little dark. Apparently, everyone who talked about this barely remembered it. Interesting. The only thing they remembered was one money shot, which comes at the end, which we'll talk about. It sounds like this was one of the last things shown, and it was apparently really short, and it was sandwiched between other things, and the audience was apparently angry and riled up, or just distracted by the fact that they had to sit through what was apparently a long and potentially boring presentation on the film Dr. Sleep, which angered them, and some of them thought the visuals in that were too disturbing. So they were quite distracted when this Godzilla vs Kong thing plays, apparently, and so the information we have on it is super minimal, and it's nothing really to bite into that much. I don't know. We'll get into it. I'm just saying I have such big reservations about this. I'm not going full force with this like a lot of other people are and being like, yes, this is real, I 100% buy it, I'm all in, you sold me, because you didn't. You didn't sell me on any of this. I don't know. We'll run through what this could be, and there is a lot to talk about if this is real. And so I will actually do other videos talking about what's in here outside of just this, because if this is real, there's some things to talk about that I can't really get into that in depth in this video without making this video absurdly long. Alexander Skarsgård's the first thing we see. He's in a building similar to some sort of ancient temple or glacier. How do you get the two confused? I don't know. He's in some sort of ancient temple or glacier, and he's stated to be something of a villain character. I have been speculating on this. I don't think I've actually talked about this on the channel, but this is something I have personally believed for a long time, was that Alexander Skarsgård's character is going to infiltrate Monarch, and he will be a bad guy. Now that we've seen King of the Monsters, I think he will be part of Jonah Allen's crew. Anyways, Alexander Skarsgård is in this temple. He is stated to be something like a villain. Here's the weird thing. Why does he call it this? A pathetic voiceover monologue about the great battle? Why is it pathetic? Is this, is that what people reported? They were like, yeah, it's a pathetic voiceover. Or is this just the guy putting his own commentary in here? It's all tainted. This is all tainted information. I don't know. Why is it pathetic? There's a pathetic voiceover about the great battle. I'm assuming that means Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is said to be among chains in the ruins of a city or the mountains. He's very angry and lightning strikes into the sky. A lot to think about there. Okay, so Ghidorah is chained up. He's back, first of all. That's pretty significant, right? Ghidorah's back. That lends into the idea that they could team up, or it lends into the idea that they are going to set something up for down the line, because this does not sound like it's going to be the last MonsterVerse movie, as we talked about previously. Ghidorah in chains. Now, these chains were also stated to be something like mechanical in nature, so it again lends it to the idea of a mecha King Ghidorah. Some mechanical chains in the ruins of a city. Well, how did they get Ghidorah into a city? I don't know. They got him into a city or a mountain. That sounds more believable that he's in a mountain. He's angry, so I guess he's back alive. Lightning striking into the sky, so he's back alive and he's slowly regenerating. And it's stated to be Ghidorah, so I guess it's just going to be a rehash of what we saw last time. There's a gloomy look of Kyle Chandler. Sure. Millie Bobby Brown's in tears. Sure. Again, those are the generic shots that anyone could make up. Apparently, a lot of the CG in this trailer is very unfinished, which kind of goes along with what we heard previously, where they said it needed to be polished. Hearing that it's unfinished is a totally different thing, though. So apparently we hear unfinished CG in the trailer, and so what they saw may not exactly be what we first get a look at. So it doesn't sound like we can take too much out of the Ghidorah's in chains thing, because they didn't really get a good look at it. Thunderstorms, open ocean, just atmospheric shots, half of a flooded aircraft carrier. Okay, Godzilla and Kong fighting on the aircraft carrier. So a lot of people I saw arguing over this. Are they standing on it fighting, because an aircraft carrier is not big enough to hold them? Are they standing on it fighting? This guy says that they're standing on either side of it, which that's a pretty big battlefield to fight across, in my opinion. But either way, they have long arms. They can do it. I'm not doubting that. They're fighting on either side of an aircraft carrier. It's just stated to be action sequence. Kong punches Godzilla in the face. Godzilla's fine. He is not affected by it that much. Godzilla then smacks Kong, and Kong goes flying to the other end of the location. What on earth is this talking about? Is this a separate scene or the same scene as this aircraft carrier, which is the big money shot, I guess? The aircraft carrier was the big sell that everyone talked about, was this aircraft carrier scene where they're fighting on either end of it or on top of it, depending on who you ask. Okay, are they fighting on top of it? Because they're not. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. They're fighting on either side of it. Kong punches Godzilla. Godzilla isn't affected. I can buy this. Yes, this sounds okay to me. It's going to really set up Kong to be the underdog if Godzilla's that tough. Sure, Godzilla's not affected. He hits Kong. Kong goes flying to the other end of the location. What does that even mean? Is he in the water still? Or is Kong on land fighting Godzilla in the water? How does Godzilla hit him? Is it a tail sweep? What on earth happens here that sends Kong flying? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. To the other end of the location? What is the location? Is this on a city? Is this in the ocean? I have no freaking idea. You see what I mean when I say, like, this is all fishy? There's so little detail. It's the complete opposite of the other one. The other one was like way too specific and like way too cheesy. This one's like way too vague, and if so many people saw it, how did not one of them have a better description than Kong flies to the other end of the location? Is he in a city? What is happening here? Then we get a title card, title screen, Godzilla vs. Kong, and it's stated that the aircraft carrier fight was the only finished CG, and that's why people remember it so well. Kong is about the height of Godzilla, and people are speculating that Godzilla's smaller in this sequence, and so they say it might be a flashback. I highly doubt that. If they're fighting around an aircraft carrier, there's nowhere in the timeline that this could be a flashback that would make sense. So no, this is not a flashback if this is real. I'm gonna call that now. There's no way it could be a flashback and them fighting around an aircraft carrier. There just isn't a place in the timeline where that could work. Kong is nearly the size of Godzilla. He's almost the size of Godzilla. At maximum, he's one head length shorter than Godzilla. Whose head length, though? Because Godzilla's got a much smaller head than Kong. I'm assuming Kong. So they're about the same height. That also, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily scream, hey, this is real to me, because Kong, I almost guarantee, is going to be significantly smaller than Godzilla, much more than one head length. I'm predicting Kong is going to be about 50 to 100 feet smaller than Godzilla. Because Godzilla's like 400 feet now, so unless they shrunk Godzilla, Kong is huge, my lord. Now it's stated that Godzilla's on the left side of the aircraft carrier, Kong's on the right side, half of it's tilted and in the water, but we still don't know if they're fighting on top of it or if they're fighting around it. I have no idea. This whole thing sounds so manufactured to me. Everything about it's so odd. Ghidorah's back. All right, interesting. So if that's the case, that is a shock to me. I'll talk about how we could bring Ghidorah back in another video. That's what I was saying, is that I'm gonna do another video based on this, but not this video. So Ghidorah's potentially back. All right, that's pretty interesting the way they describe him. He's like a Frankenstein character. Supposedly they can't tell if he's a full-grown Ghidorah again or if he's a smaller Ghidorah. Lots of speculation that this is an unfinished. He's like just regenerating. He's much smaller than he was in King of the Monsters, and he is apparently like not finished being put together when we see this scene, so it's kind of grotesque, or at least that's what people are speculating. I don't know if that's their speculation or them just saying I hope this is the case, because no one's really clear about this. Ghidorah chained up in a city, I think that sounds really interesting. I don't think that indicates that he will be the big bad that brings Godzilla and Kong together, because Ghidorah is able to be chained up in a city. I just don't buy it that he can get strong enough to fight both Godzilla and Kong in such a short amount of time. Plus, Godzilla just whooped Ghidorah's butt. I don't think he needs that much help to do it again, especially if Ghidorah's off of his game. Godzilla, of course, had help from Mothra, a lot of help from Mothra, but I don't think that Ghidorah would be in a position to put Godzilla on the ringer like he did in King of the Monsters if this is the case. I don't know, this all just sounds so... Why does everyone always text me when I record it? Always happens. This all just sounds wrong to me, you know? It just does. It sounds wrong. I don't buy it. And it could be real, it really could be, but I don't buy it. And if this is the case, by the way, we are not getting a trailer anytime soon. If the CG is really that unfinished that you can't even tell really what you're looking at, you can kiss that trailer goodbye, because there's no way they're going to be able to put out a trailer in October if the CG is this unfinished right now. And that's also really worrying. From what we previously heard, the CG was good to go. It just needed some refining before the movie came out. This all of a sudden is saying, no, it's not finished. I don't know how unfinished that means. Maybe that's people just going, yeah, it could be a little better. But maybe that's like, yeah, they're still showing the previs. We don't know because there's not enough information out on this, and it's all super vague. But like, if it is what I'm thinking it is, which is mostly previs, because if you can't even really tell what the scale of things are, what the locations are, what you're actually looking at, that's got to be the previs, right? That can't be anything else. And if that's the case, there's no way they're going to have a trailer ready to go here, because if there was finished CGI ready to be put in a trailer, that would be shown to the investors. You're not going to want to show investors your worst footage. You're going to want to show them your best footage, so we can kiss that trailer goodbye. I don't know, guys. What do you think about all this? Again, I'm gonna kind of remain neutral on this because there is a little bit of more credibility to this than there has been previously. However, it just does not sound convincing to me. It just isn't. It does not sell me. What do you guys think? Are you guys sold on this? I'm sure by the time this video comes out, there's more information on this than there is when I recorded this. And so for everyone else, including future D-Men, you guys all know way more than I do, and I'm sure you can form more accurate judgments. But from where I'm sitting, it's too much. I just don't believe it. Thanks, guys. D-Man out.